Hi everyone, Yana is here, and you're watching the Clean and Simple Die Cutting video series. In this video, I'm actually not going to be doing any die cutting. I will be doing some embossing instead. So here I have a double-sided embossing folder from Spellbinders. It's an embossability folder. I also have some gems and some white and blue cardstock. I also picked some stamps, but I'm not sure which I wanted to use, so I have two at the moment. I will be also using some Clear Snap Surfaces ink to stamp the sentiment, and I simply picked this particular ink because of the color. I really like this Caribbean color. So here you can see me using my Grand Caliber die cutting and embossing machine to emboss my cardstock. And this cardstock is from Basil Basics. The piece of cardstock that I'm using is a lot larger than my card base. And it's larger because I've noticed that after I emboss, my cardstock tends to shrink a bit. So if I were to cut my cardstock to size before embossing, there would be a good chance it would shrink and end up being smaller in size than my card base, and I would have to redo it again. So that's why I usually emboss first and then cut it to size later. To make my cardstock thicker, I'm going to be applying some double-sided tape to the back and adhering some white cardstock from DevCraft. It's not going to be visible, but it's going to make this piece a little bit more durable. And I often do this. I often emboss a piece of cardstock and then adhere another piece of cardstock on the back to make it more thick. As for the sentiment, I finally decided to use this stamp set from Technique Tuesday, and I've used it a lot. This little tiny sentiment, It's Your Day. It's one of my favorite ones, and I think I've made about a dozen cards already with this particular stamp. To make sure the stamp and the color of the ink fits well with my card design, I'm stamping it on a piece of paper and seeing and trying to decide if it matches my embossing, and it does. I'm happy with the way it looks combined. So I'm stamping this at the bottom middle portion of my card base, and I wasn't very successful stamping the first time, so I simply inked my stamp again, and I stamped again, and I was lucky enough to stamp in the exact same spot that I did the first time. Now I'm going to use the gems from Trimcraft. Those are self-adhesive gems to decorate the embossed panel. And I find that adding gems to your embossing really makes it pop. It makes it really festive and elegant and really adds that little nice extra touch to your card. To adhere the embossed panel to my card, I'm using some foam dimensional adhesive, and I'm simply placing it around the card, around the embossed piece. So I'm adhering the embossed piece to the top portion of my card, leaving the stamp sentiment open at the bottom there. And well, this finishes up my card, and I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching.